Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. This is Outline and Explain for the AS paper Education, and this question that I'm looking at is from the AS paper in June 2016 and it's off the paper 1 Education. Okay, now just a bit of a warning: if you are doing the full A level, there is not an Outline and Explain on the full A level paper. You only have an item 10 marker. So this is only on the AS paper. So if this does not apply to you, please don't listen. Okay. So I want to go through this question, outline and explain 2 ways in which the functions of education system may affect pupils' educational achievement. So if I start off with just the examiner comments, and then we can start to break down what the examiner was expecting to see. So according to the examiner comments, and these are all available on AQA that you can get off. You can ask your teacher, because she or he should be able to get these for you if you don't know where they are. But it's really important that you do look at the examiner comments. So it just outlines what this question is actually asking you to do. So this question is asking you to apply knowledge of one area of the specification to another. We'll just go back to the question just so you can see what that means. Well, this is one area of the specification, the functions of education. You'll have studied that in either theory topic, theories of education, or the function or the role of education topic. And then you've got to link it to or apply it to the pupil's educational achievement. Now this is a little bit broader because you'll have looked at different types of pupils. You'll have looked at male and female pupils, you'll have looked at middle class, working class pupils, and you'll have also looked at ethnic minorities in comparison to white students. So that's a little bit broader, okay? But they want you to show that you can link 2 areas of the specification together. The weaker students weren't able to do that. That just meant that they either give a bit of a description about why working class didn't achieve, or why middle class achieved better, or they talked about just about a function of education. If you do that, you're going to be stuck in the bottom band and you're going to be capped at 3 marks. So what you are aiming to do is to make sure that in each of your paragraphs you are linking into both parts of the question. So your better answers did have knowledge of one or more functions, usually from functionalist or Marxist perspective, but this question, as you look at the mark scheme, you could have drawn examples from feminism and even the New Right even, okay? And some of these functions included role allocation, socialisation, transmission of specialist skills, reproduction of class inequality, likewise reproduction of gender inequality would have been reasonable in this answer. They do identify that some knowledge was patchy and there was a tendency to merge functions together, so talk about as many functionalist functions in one paragraph. Better answers actually explained a separate function and actually gone into details of it and applied it to the issue of achievement. Okay, and you've got a little bit of an example there that you could use. So just to take you back to the mark scheme, so like I said, top band, you'll have good knowledge, you will of 2 functions, you will apply the relevant material twice, and you will link it to educational achievement twice, and you will give some analysis. There is no marks available for evaluation. Okay, so they are looking for analysis in this answer, and that's what you're looking for to get into the top band. Okay, and if you want to have a quick glance of the indicative content, like what I've just said, you've got functionalist functions of socialisation, specialist skills, meritocracy, role allocation, and you've got Marxist functions like legitimation of inequality, myth of meritocracy, ISA, division of labour is functionalist, and then you've got the inequality of achievement, which you can then start to apply streaming, and you can start to talk about different class, gender and ethnic inequalities in achievement. Okay. A couple of studies that you may refer to, and that will just bulk up your knowledge, and that will just give you a little bit more to write about as well, referring to some of these studies. Okay, I would expect students to have the popular ones such as Althusser with the ISA, Blart and Duncan, Human Capital, Bowles and Gintis, Correspondence Principle, Davis and Moore, Role Allocation, Durkheim, Specialist Skills. Robbie was Reproduction of Feminist, so Gender Inequality, Parsons, Secondary Socialisation, Willis, Working Class Lads. Oh, in just a brief nutshell. Okay. Okay, so that is roughly what the mark scheme looks like. Okay. And we'll have a little bit of a look at a question. So just a reminder, this is the question that you're looking at. Okay. And what I asked my students to do is break the question into two parts. Okay. So you are looking for two connectives. And this is what the examiner is referring it to. They call it connective number 1, which is the functions of the education system, and connective number 2, which is the pupil's educational achievement. And what I would do is make a little bit of a mini plan, write down as many functions as you can, and write down as many pupils and whether they're achieving or not. And then you can decide which ones have you got the most to write about. Okay. This answer doesn't require an intro or a conclusion. They just want you 2 paragraphs, and they just want you to start off by saying the first function is, explain what it is, and then show that you can apply it to pupils' educational achievement. Do that twice, have 2 equal paragraphs in equal size, and make sure you're offering some sort of analysis. Okay, so just to give you a bit of an idea about the types of things that you could write about, like I said off the examiner comments, the most popular functions were the functionalist and the Marxist. Okay, so there's my little bit of a mini plan, and this is where I can then decide what am I going to write about, and start to organise my answer. So what I've done is I've started to put down an example of how you could work out a possible paragraph. And what I want you to think about is when you're writing these paragraphs, does it sound logical? Are you following a logical chain of reasoning? Does each point link to the next point that you're given? And I'll just explain what I mean by that here. Okay, so I've colour coded it so you can see where I'm showing equal application to both parts of the question, and the purple bit is the analysis at the end. And basically what I've done is I've just taken this straight off the mark scheme. Okay, so one function of the education system according to Davis and Moore, so tick, I've got a key name, is to meet the needs of the economy by role allocation. There's my first function, it's in the first sentence, and then I'm going to say, well, what is role allocation? Logically, don't be chucking in concepts and then not explain what they mean. So role allocation is to select and allocate pupils based for their future work roles. This is essential because we want the best people to perform the specialist roles, and Davis and Moore does identify that you don't really want people being brain surgeons or pilots if they're not adequately skilled to do so. Now, this is where I've started to link it to the educational achievements, because all students will be motivated to compete for the best grades to get those best jobs in that idea of role allocation. So the best students get allocated the best jobs, and I'm applying it to Parsons' idea of meritocracy, because every student has an equal chance of showing off their ability to get the best grades in order to get the best jobs. And then I've linked it to the wider context. This is important in wider society, and this is where I'm analysing it, because we need to ensure that in the case of jobs, you are allocating the best person for the best job. You are judged on the same universal principles to get the best jobs, and this is important that schools start to do this. According to Blart and Duncan, the modern economy relies on how well it uses its human capital, and the meritocratic education system does this best by doing this role allocation. Okay, so let's have a little bit of a look. I want you to have a go at a second paragraph. So this time I would identify a totally different function. So have one on functionalist, have one on Marxist, or feminist if you want to. So the main function of education system, and you might start your sentence with the second function of the education system, okay, is to reproduce class inequality. And then tell me, what is the class inequality? Okay, so working class are failing because they're part of the proletariat and we want to maintain capitalism. You can then apply concepts of the ideological state apparatus, and again, if you're using that, explain what it is. Education is ideological. It's pretending that it's meritocratic, but in reality it is systematically failing the working class. Okay, so then you can apply reproduction. Working class go into school, working class come out of school, working class. It's legitimation by believing that it's fair, but in reality it's a myth. And then you can link it into your pupils' achievements, the systematic failure of the working class. They're constantly labelled by the teachers, they're streamed into the lower set. That means, and it's ensuring that they are failing, and they will come out of school working class. And the wider context of this, capitalism relies on this function to ensure, obedience of the working class and to avoid a revolution. Okay, so you've got two functions there for you to have a go at. If you want to be a little bit clever, why don't you have a look at A, the function according to feminists, reproducing gender inequalities, or reproducing something like specialist skills or social solidarity or whatever. Okay, so have a little bit of a go at this, and that should allow you to structure your answers. Okay, thank you for listening, and I hope you listen again soon. Goodbye.